Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Inshallah, you are all doing good today. So, I just want to say a few words concerning Israeli citizens that are against what Israel is doing to Palestine. You know, that they consider themselves to be anti Zionist, and supposedly they've been involved in protest movements against the Zionist regime, and they believe that Palestinians have the right to exist and that there should be a Palestinian state. Well, here's the thing, and this is just a piece of logic that I want to give to you, pass on to you, and I hope you don't take this the wrong way, but why don't you just leave? Just leave. Like, if you're totally against what Israel is doing, if you even believe that, you know, Israel's existence has been founded in on the murder of on the destruction of many Palestinian villages, of the terrorizing that they have inflicted upon the Palestinian land. If you believe all of that, then just leave. Maybe you have dual citizenship. Maybe your parents have dual citizenship somewhere that you could go back to. Yeah. I mean, I know there are young people, there are even older people that were born in Israel proper after 1948, and they consider Israel to be their land completely, right? But is there justification in it? I mean, you are a colonizer, or you are the children of colonizers. And even if your parents themselves were sympathetic to the Palestinians, that did not stop them from moving in and living there. It did not stop them from really asking, doing some soul searching and going, do I really want to live here? Especially because, and let's face it, Israel was first founded not because of some big secular extremist colonial movement, as everyone likes to say, but because it also was assisted by the blessing, so to speak, of certain Orthodox extreme religious leaders, such as Rabbi Cook, Abraham Cook, and his son, and many others of their contemporaries. Yeah, uh, they founded an educational system from the early 1900s that very much resembled the education Zionist system of today. Yeah, Zionist system that it incorporates religious and secular studies together, and that allowed them to successfully brainwash the Israeli youth into believing that this land is their land, and the rest of Palestinian land, any land surrounding it, the Greater Israel Project, they believe it all belongs to them because ancestors, yada yada yada, and they don't even necessarily have to believe in God for that. Especially because leaders like Cook would specifically say that, you know, God could use physical instruments, people that don't even believe in God, right? We could use them. That's what he was saying. We could make use of them in order to achieve greater Israel, and they would still be rewarded, even if they're not really religious. So, he was getting into loopholes in order to avoid the fact that, you know, if he was just going to appeal to the religious element, that was not going to happen. Because already within the context of rabbinic Judaism, in general, Israel was not supposed to happen until the Messiah came and ushered people into the land. No, Cook was like, we need to make our own Messiah, and he saw Theodore Herzl as the useful idiot that he was, because he didn't really believe in him. He saw him as someone who was not really Jewish like he's supposed to be, but he was like, you know what? I don't care. So long as it gets a lot of useful bodies, secular bodies to help us achieve the greater Israel dream. That's what Cook was on about. And that's what happened. And you know what? A lot of people, Jews from Europe, maybe they were fooled into thinking that they're coming into land that is, specifically for them, land that no one lived on before. That's what they thought. They were lied to. There was a lot of propaganda done. But you know what? Once you found out the truth, once you found out, what made you stay? And then your kids stayed. Then your kids' kids stayed. What made you stay? If not indirectly agreeing with this sentiment, or going, you know what? Life is too good here for me to go. Like, why would I want to go? I don't know. Maybe because your neighbors, right, not too far away, are getting terrorized every day. Their lives are a living hell every day. And for what? So you could have a good life? Or you feel you believe that you have more of a right to a good life than them, or that you are superior to them. You see them as lesser than you. I understand there was educational system and all that fooled you into thinking this when you were younger, but I'm sure a lot of Israeli citizens that are supposedly sympathetic, I say supposedly, sympathetic to the Palestinian cause, they've met Israelis of the Palestinian diaspora, or they used to, they're Palestinians from before, but they got their villages got absorbed into Israel, right? And they've got to have known them, and they got even became good friends with them, maybe, yeah. But it doesn't really, you know, it didn't really. It's more like so long as they agreed with your narrative, perhaps, right? So long as they didn't go, well, that land was my land, was a Palestinian proper. It's supposed to be all Palestine. No, no. So long as they agreed with your narrative that Israel first started out peacefully, and unfortunately there were hostilities, and it's just cycle of violence. No, there's no cycle of violence. It's you terrorized and colonized their land, and they're fighting back, and they tried to fight back peaceably many times over, but they resort to violence as a last resort because you humiliated and degraded them, and you never stop. You never stop with all the checkpoints, all the killings, all the crops being, the wells being poisoned, the crops being destroyed, their land constantly being taken, imprisoning their children. Of course, they're going to fight back. Of course, you'd have to be insane not to fight back. To all you Israelis thinking that Israel or those sympathetic to Palestinian cause, then leave. Just leave. If you feel totally sympathetic with them, if you believe that what Israel is doing is wrong, and if you even believe that Israel should not have existed in the first place, especially because it was a project that was very much founded on what the British Empire wanted, right? Great Britain, they wanted Israel to be established because it was like a bridge, right? They were like their connection to the Middle East, to what's going on in the Middle East. Yeah. And also at the same time, it took Jews from the UK into Israel. Like, definitely, it was two birds of one stone. We have, Europeans, like-minded Europeans over there. They have the same interests as us, and we have a link to what's going on there, so we could control what's going on over there, supposedly. And then the U.S. took over from that, yeah. But to a small degree, the UK still deals with them in that capacity, but not as fervently, not as idealistically, right, as the religious far right Christianity, for example, in the U.S. But anyway, I digress. Just if you really do believe in in the Palestinian cause, it's better that you leave, go back, go to a different country, wherever you want to go. Yeah, wherever your parents or grandparents came from. Like, don't be saying, "I was born here. 2 generations back, we're born here. 3 generations back." Sorry, Palestinian was always there from before with Muslims, Christians, and Jews. Okay, and that could happen now. There could be a unity government with both the Palestinian Authority and the Israeli governments both destroyed, and all the people together could just vote for a new government that represents everyone, and it should be under Palestine again, not Israel, not Israel. Israel was a dream born in the living nightmare of Palestinians until now, and it should be dismantled. The whole state should be dismantled. Okay, that's what should happen. The dream of a greater Israel, which God never wanted in the first place, get rid of that dream. And for you to stay in Israel while still advocating for Palestine is an insult to the Palestinians, because by not staying, right? I mean, by staying, you are implying that you don't really totally disagree with what Israel is doing, and if anything, you're going to fight with them against any Palestinian resistance. You have to. You have no choice, because you'll be worried about your own safety. Supposedly, your own safety. But think about the safety of the Palestinians, down to the babies. Yeah? Is their life so inferior to yours that 100 could die in a day and it's nothing? Oh, you say it's something. Then leave. if you're truly embarrassed and ashamed of what your state has become. But you should also think how it came into being in the first place. It was always within violence that Israel existed. It was founded on the premise of violence. And it continues to exist because of violence. Because, you know, if there is true peace in the region, right? Israel doesn't do anything. They don't attack Palestinians. They don't get into their land. You know what's going to happen? Israel can never achieve the dream of greater Israel. It has to happen. It has to happen. The only way it could happen is through conflict, through warfare. Then they take that land. Then they go, we need to, for security reasons, security reasons. No, it's for religious reasons. And it's always going to be for religious reasons. Anyway, I'm done for now. Uh, Thank you for your time, everyone. And walaikum salam.